Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another live episode of Lombardi Time Brews, coming to you live from Titletown, talking about day 6 of Green Bay Packers training camp and everything that happened. And I got to tell you, today was one of the more eventful days in a few different ways. One, the weather is just starting to get warmer. The temperatures are creeping up there. But two, now with pads on, LaFleur, I think taking the opportunity today to make it a longer practice, knowing that severe temperatures are coming up later this week, that maybe let's get a long one out of the way on this Sunday. Very, very rare Sunday practice for the Packers at training camp today. Did have a different feel to it too, just overall. The play on the field still much the same, but in the crowd, in the stands, people were much slower to get there than they have been a lot of days. So just an interesting vibe to practice number 6. So we got a lot of stuff to go over. Let's dive into it right now. First of all, on the injury front, Josh Myers, starting center, he was back today. He's missed the last couple of days due to some personal things going on. Well, he was back today. However, we did have some new injuries to add to the list. So the out list today was Marshawn Lloyd, rookie running back, still out. Tucker Kraft, Oladapo, Rochelle, all still out. But then some new ones. Zane Anderson, the safety, he was out today with a knee injury. Deslin Alexander, the defensive end, out with a lower leg injury, it was qualified as. Keyshawn Banks, another defensive end, out today with a groin injury. And then also Elton Jenkins getting the day off again for vet rest. This is his second day off in 6 practices, both of them being credited to vet rest. All right, moving on from that. Also, shout out on just a different kind of note here. Mark Murphy's been president at nearly every practice. Not president. And I saw him today go up to basically that entire list at different times of injured guys, talk with them for a couple minutes, and then kind of mosey on his way. Just thought it was neat to see. So your starting lineup today, the ones that trotted out there first were Jordan Love, obviously, Josh Jacobs at running back. Then beyond that, the wide receivers, the ones who took the first snaps at least, Dobbs, Watson, Reed. Then your offensive line, your number ones at offensive line today was Rasheed Walker at left tackle, Sean Ryan at left guard since Elton Jenkins wasn't there, Josh Myers at center, Jordan Morgan getting more time at guard today, and then also Zach Tom was technically with the ones at right tackle before dropping out and giving way to Kadeem Telfort. Interesting note about Jordan Morgan, Matt LaFleur just this morning said in his press conference that Jordan is getting more comfortable at guard, that he is, for now, a guard with the ability to kick outside. And I got to tell you, from what we've been seeing, it definitely looks like Jordan Morgan has slid ahead of Sean Ryan on the depth chart. Still, obviously, a lot of time to change, but it does look indeed like the prophecy is coming true, and Jordan Morgan could be at right guard. Then for the defense, the starters over there, basically the same. You've got Gary Slayton, Clark Smith on the line, Quay and McDuffie, the first linebackers up. Corners, Nixon, J.R. Stokes, safety, Xavier McKinney, but then also Anthony Johnson Jr. getting the reps with the ones at the opposite safety spot today. Just his turn in the rotation that they seem to be doing at safety too. Ms. Wilgo, what's up? See the difference a little bit of love brings. MVP is a wrap. You know, here's the thing, like, it is different. It is. The offense on the whole is at least becoming functional. It's not great yet. But now all of a sudden, it's not this instantaneous snap the ball quarterback is running for his life and it's just a disaster. It wasn't that at all today. They're actually making progress. Did the defense still win the day? Yes, they did, and we'll get to that soon. For your kicking update, I know everyone's on pins and needles about that. It was Joseph and Carlson doing the kicks today, and interestingly, they changed the way that they were doing it. See, previously, whenever it was these two kicking, it would be 3 reps for Carlson, 3 reps for Joseph, and then they kind of moved in sets. Today, it was tit for tat, kick for kick. Joseph would do a kick, then be done. Carlson would come on, do a kick. Well, today, Joseph was good from 49, 46, 40, 51, and 52, missing from 51. Second attempt at 51, wide right. Carlson, good from 43, 49, 40, 51, 52, also missing 1 attempt from 51, wide left. These two individuals, Carlson and Joseph, have been perfectly even this far through camp. Each one I'm missing a grand total of only 2 kicks thus far through the 6 practices. In terms of other special teams notes, kick returner, punt returner, taking snaps at kick returner, just kind of in rotation was Nixon, Reed, Melton, Jacobson, Toure. Punt returner, they got some different guys in, Toure, Dobbs, Reed, Nixon, and then Dimitri Stanley getting a few punt return reps in. And I got a question the other day about Dimitri Stanley, and I got to say, like, he's getting a couple more chances here and there. And I got to say, like, just watching him play, there are some Bo Melton elements to his game. The fact that his feet just seemingly work quicker than the other players around him. He's got kind of that same long speed of Bo Melton as well. Dimitri Stanley, just, they're different players ultimately, but I do see shades of Melton if you're looking for a Dimitri Stanley comp there. Then the player of the day, 7th round rookie cornerback, Kalen King. King was not perfect today. Don't get me wrong. There was one play in particular, I believe it was the 2-minute drill with the threes where Jarvian Howard, the UDFA running back, did kind of edge around King. Looked like King just had a bad spot. But in terms of pass protection, Kalen King had 2 pass breakups, also had what would have been a pick 6 on Jordan Love, getting a snap with the ones and then actually coming through with what would have been a pick 6. Now, that play in and of itself did look like overall just a busted play. I'm sure you can find clips out there. I saw at least one leaked clip, but like there really weren't wide receivers running a route to the spot that Jordan was throwing that ball. Something was busted. Kalen King, though, took advantage, hopped on it, and would have housed it for a pick 6. This is a strong performance for the 7th round rookie. And moving on to other follower requests in terms of leadership. Really cool to see Elton Jenkins getting a vet rest day. Didn't stop him from getting himself involved during all of the offensive line position drills. After every single rep, you saw Elton Jenkins talk to someone, be it Josh Myers, Zach Tom. That looked a little bit more like peer-to-peer talking. But then when Jordan Morgan would get done with the rep, you would also see Elton Jenkins pull Morgan off to the side. They both would get into a stance, and you could tell Jenkins was just giving the young one tips, pointers, coaching him up, doing something very similar with Jacob Monk as well, of which, by the way, I didn't put him as try again another day. That goes just to Sean Clifford, who again, yowza, Sean Clifford, not a good day. We'll get to that in a little bit. But also Jacob Monk. This was not Jacob Monk's best day. Ordinarily in practice, there's only been 2 guys like really doing snaps regularly. Like Jenkins has stepped in at center over the last couple of days, but in position drills and stuff, 2 guys acting like centers, one being Myers, the other being Monk. However, Monk had 2 bad snaps today. This was not a great day for Jacob Monk, both blocking or snapping. So we'll get a little bit more to that. And then, of course, also been asked to check on corner 2, that competition. Got to say, Carrington Valentine, he came up with an interception today, and it was an impressive one. Like, he skied above everybody, just got up there, plucked that ball out of the sky from Sean Clifford. He got himself an interception. Eric Stokes, really nothing notable today about Stokes' day, but Stokes still very much does look like he has control of that job right now. Chris Hand, what's up? What's up, John? Hey, everyone. Hello to you, Chris Hand. Thanks for joining us here. All right, so let's get to some other stuff. I know one of the big things of the day, one-on-ones. This is the first one-on-ones we actually saw in camp. Offensive linemen, defensive linemen, masses of human being going at it. So I did track every single one of the one-on-one reps to give you who won each and every rep. For every single matchup, there were 2 reps that they then did back-to-back. First up was Preston Smith versus Rasheed Walker. Preston getting 1, Walker getting 1. Keep in mind, if it appears as though it's a stalemate, meaning like there's no progress either way as they're blocking each other, that point goes to the offensive line. Because in theory, in a game, the defender didn't get home. That's a good thing for the offensive lineman, so we'll give a point there. So 1-1, Preston Walker. Next up was Kenny Clark against Sean Ryan. This was not much of a matchup. Sean Ryan did not do exceptionally well against Kenny Clark. Kenny Clark relatively easily won both of the reps. Then TJ Slayton versus Josh Myers, 1 apiece. Got to tell you, TJ Slayton pulled a spin move out of that. That's not what the big man is known for. But he did pull one out today against Josh Myers. It just happened to be the rep that it was a very successful spin. And then he didn't get home afterwards. So 1 apiece there. Then Devontae Wyatt versus Jordan Morgan. This was impressive. Jordan Morgan stopped Devontae Wyatt on both of the one-on-one reps. And it wasn't for a lack of push or speed from Wyatt. He got push against Morgan, but Morgan ultimately won the reps, stopping it in its tracks. Then Rashawn Gary versus Kadeem Telford. And like, let's just be frank here. This wasn't fair, like at all. Telford, he's had some good reps filling in for Andre Dillard ever since he kind of took over those snaps with the ones at right tackle. And thus far, Telford, like, he's had some good reps, but in one-on-ones, this wasn't even close. Rashawn Gary blew right through Telford like he wasn't even there, which is a lot of man to walk right through. It was incredibly impressive by Gary. Next up, LVN, one of the more surprising matchups of the day. Lucas Van Ness going against Andre Dillard. Dillard has had an awful camp. His work on the line has been bad. He was demoted from right tackle 1 with Zach Tom's injury to now left tackle 2. And yet, going against one-on-ones today against LVN, Dillard got wins on both reps. Both times, LVN stopping in his progress. Encouraging for Dillard. And not to make too much of it, but also like LVN, why? What happened, man? Then Carl Brooks versus Royce Newman. Each one getting one here. I will say Brooks's one win against Royce was impressive. Also, something about Royce Newman, I don't know if I'll get to it later, but in the 2-minute drill that they ended practice with, Jordan Morgan got replaced. Not by anyone by Royce Newman. Royce Newman got some snaps with the ones today. Let's say a prayer, shall we? Then moving on to other one-on-ones, Jonathan Ford against Jacob Monk. There was one win each here, but I will note that the one that Jonathan Ford won, not only did he beat Jacob Monk, that was one of the bad snaps that I was talking about, because even in these one-on-ones, if you're center, you still snap. Ford, it was a bad snap by Monk, and then Ford tipped him over. This was just a really awful rep there by Monk. Then you also had Tenuta against Kobe Wooden, 1-1 there. Kingsley Enagbare against Travis Glover. And some of the more comical reps, because Kingsley Enagbare and Glover, both of them had multiple offsides and false starts. It was basically like, hup, and then one of them would move, the other one wouldn't. Okay, do it again. Okay, now the other one moved, the other one didn't. And it was like, to get these 2 reps in probably took 8 or 9 sets from these 2 guys. Ultimately, though, Kingsley Enagbare got one on Glover. The other one, though, Glover, like Enagbare began to pursue into Glover, and Glover just straight up lifted him. Just when you hear the phrase, he stood him up, literally stood up Kingsley Enagbare. That was an incredibly impressive rep from Travis Glover against Enagbare. Then you had Mosby against Jones. Mosby did kind of get around Jones. I'd still give both wins to Jones, though, and the size of a little Mosby against a big Jones, Mosby didn't stand much of a chance. And that was really all we got through in terms of reps in their full fruition. And there was some Esther and Jennings there at the end, but it's as guys were beginning to move on to the next drill. So there you have your one-on-ones report. Then let's see, other than that, interesting note from LaFleur's press conference this morning. It was said yesterday by Evan Williams, the rookie safety, that Xavier McKinney basically has his own autonomy when it comes to deciding what he's going to do on each play. Because one safety goes up, one safety goes back, right? Well, apparently the way that they're doing it thus far is Xavier McKinney gets into the defensive huddle and he's like, all right, I'm going to be the box safety this time. I'm going up, you're going back. It just kind of tells his counterpart what to go do on every given snap. Evan Williams said that at his locker yesterday. Today in his press conference, LaFleur was like, yeah, we really love the rookie giving away our secrets. And then just a cool side note here before I move on to more play recapping. Every single day at practice so far, an offensive lineman, because there's been a lot of positional drill work. In fact, I saw even Aaron Nagler tweeted out about it today. Lots of individual time, lots of position drill work, more so than I recall ever in the 2 years prior where I've been coming to camp regularly. They are really, in this early portion of camp, focusing on individual drills, position drill work, more so than I've ever seen before. It feels meaningful. And it's not just like today. It's been every day, a lot of time devoted there. And when they go to that, it seems like one offensive lineman, one rookie offensive lineman a day, I don't know if this is some kind of weird positive hazing, but is assigned with running down the crowd and ramping up the crowd. It's been very neat to see every day. All right, so now just some general notes before I get to the stream of plays or handle some questions. Bullard, I said this the other day. I mean it. Bullard is just so much quicker than the other rookie DBs. He's quicker than most other DBs. His footwork, the speed at which that he moves his feet, like literally, I'm not talking about any football nomenclature here. I'm just saying literally the speed that he moves his feet is quicker than basically anyone else on the field. It is incredibly impressive. Speaking of speed and DBs, Jair and Stokes, today, they did some route running against each other, and I said just a couple weeks ago when I was talking about Jair Alexander that one aspect of his game that's underrated is his speed, because everyone talks about Stokes' speed, but no one talks about Jair's. Jair's, he does match up with Stokes step for step, and it was clear today even in route running. Next, a note about the offense. Just overall, general note, through all 6 days, screens and tosses suck right now. Basically, anytime there's been 2 reps off the top of my head through 6 days where they do a halfback toss, and it doesn't matter to who, be it Emmanuel Wilson, Jacob Stillett, whatever, it doesn't matter. 9 times out of 10, that play has been stopped before it even gains a single yard. The Packers right now just cannot block running back tosses. Beyond that, too, almost any single time that we've seen a screen, it's just dead in the water before it even gets going. Something that has to get improved upon. Now, Jacobs did break a toss today. He had a nice, probably 15-yard scamper on one. And then the next 2, one for Jacobs, one for Dylan, were back to the same old of absolutely nothing. Then, let's see, Tenuta, I mentioned how Royce Newman got some snaps in the 2-minute drill with the ones at right guard. Luke Tenuta, who has always been a tackle. Well, today with the 2s, Luke Tenuta got himself some snaps at right guard. And I know they've said that they're cross-training everyone, but we haven't seen that before. Still feels notable. Maybe Luke Tenuta moving inside. Then some massive hits that occurred today. Benny Sapp absolutely flattened Emmanuel Wilson one time on a handoff. Benny Sapp, you pair that, his overall intensity, the fact that he still is getting special team snaps, and you pair it with his interception the other day, Benny Sapp is having a very nice camp thus far. Also, another huge hit. Keyshawn Nixon leveled A.J. Dillon today. Dillon was basically working out, like he was progressing towards the sideline, not running out of bounds, don't get me wrong, but he was just progressing that way. And Keyshawn Nixon came over and lit him the frick up. Perfectly from the side, he delivered the hit, and Dillon, like, just all-out pancaked. And then, let's see, any other general notes for you? Oh, yeah, this one. I just have to say, it feels like, and this is just a general observation, and maybe you don't care, but it does feel noteworthy. It feels like since Jordan Love got his contract, well, yesterday and today is the practices that I've been at, that it's like since he got paid, the people who have really wanted to hate him all along now have permission to do so again. I sit, not with media folks or whatever, I sit in just the regular area. And whenever Jordan Love would not make a throw in the net, or like the Kalen King interception, where there was not a receiver anywhere in the stratosphere, really, the comments from people, like I openly heard one individual, and I do not think they were kidding, genuinely said, all right, you gave him his signing bonus, trade him. Get rid of him. Just write him the check. Just get rid of him and put in Michael Pratt or sign somebody else. And it was like, I can't do this. I keep my mouth shut in those instances, but Jiminy Christmas. All right, let's see what we got here. Kevin Kebbles, what's up, Kevin Kebbles? Fixing the fence. Well, good for you. Painted a Packer fence. Be like at Lambeau. Like the stream and the video, everyone. Just right, Captain Kebbles. He's got the idea. Dan saying, John, I was on Dream Drive with grandkids yesterday, enjoying watching players ride the bikes across. Not too many autographs are given. Do the players sign more autographs after practice? Yes. So ultimately, from what I've seen, I've never tried for autographs at camp. I'm too busy doing this. But from what I have seen and heard, autographs are easier to get after practice on the Dream Drive, like on the bike ride back. There do still occasionally see a player after practice come running over to the stands and sign some there. However, it is a lot more rare than it was last year. Also, I will say, Dan, since you were there yesterday, yesterday was probably the biggest crowd that we've had at a practice yesterday. And I did hear from a number of people that just overall interaction with people was down yesterday. It may be that your best bet to really interact with a player, get an autograph, that kind of thing, would be on like a Tuesday, on a Wednesday, when there's just not such a mob around the player that you're hoping will interact, sign, what have you. So yeah, it is still going on. Your best bet is probably after practice, still in that bike area, but maybe not the busy days is your best bet, Dan. I hope that helps. All right, so now just to give you an idea, Captain Kevin. So we have a king corner who is good, you tell me? Yes, we're not talking about Kevin and that one sensational year the Kevin King had. But Kalen had himself a good day, Captain Kevels. He did. It wasn't a perfect day, but it was a good day. I will give that fully. All right, now, just to give you my typical stream of plays before we wrap up here, this was all from 11 on 11s. Keep in mind, just like I do every day, this is not necessarily consecutive plays. This is plays that as I was watching 4 different activities going on that I just happened to write down, just to give you an overall gist theme of the day, if you will. 11 on 11s. Love overled Watson incomplete. That was kind of a thing today. Love and Watson, I've been saying for over a year now, those two just do not have the best chemistry. It's still around. Clifford with his best throw of camp with an absolute dot to Samari Toure. Beautiful catch, 35-yard gain. Toure, by the way, I did not see Toure have a single drop today. This would be the first day in 6 days of camp that Samari Toure did not have a single drop. While we're on the drop note, though, the overall drop list today, Dimitri Stanley muffed himself a punt. Julian Hicks had 1 drop, but also I will say Julian Hicks had a couple really nice catches today, too. So back and forth day there for Julian Hicks. But then also Dontavian Wicks. I've been saying this now for days. I swear, we're 6 days in, and every single day Dontavian Wicks has had at least 1 drop. It's still a thing today. On the flip side, though, Dontavian Wicks also had 1 in 11 on 11s where the ball was tipped. Couldn't tell if it was off his own hand or a defender, but it was tipped up into the air. Wicks stuck with it, made the catch, got both of his feet down on the sideline as well. That was very impressive. So typical Wicks, right? We talked the other day about how even when Wicks makes the catches, they're not always clean. Great example, but then also a drop today for Wicks as well. Also, on a side note, like a flip a coin, Grant Dubose, this is now, I think, 3 days in a row that Grant Dubose had a very nice play. Today it was a crosser from Love, getting a snap at the ones, catching a crosser from Love, turning it into like a 25-yard gain in 11 on 11s. This is now 3 days in a row for Grant Dubose making some kind of catch. So Grant Dubose is coming on. I'm not saying he's competing for a job yet, but still something to be aware of. Let's see, other random plays here. Love rolls right. Rifles to Dobbs. Incomplete. Dobbs couldn't get his feet in. Love. Crosser to... that would be the Wicks drop. Clifford. Complete off left. Couldn't see who was the wide receiver. Love. Dobbs. Showing everyone. Good 30-yard gain. And then, so it was a play deep down the field to Dobbs, and Dobbs, this was impressive. It was an 11-11. Dobbs skied above everyone. Like you saw this like mass of humans, right? Everyone was kind of going for the ball, and then Dobbs got up above everyone. Well, it turns out the only reason he caught it was because of offensive pass interference. So, yay. Captain Kebble's saying, I think Watson's speed and not the best turn on routes is just so different. The timing is off. Just my theory. It is possible. I'm not really ready to go with why it may be happening. At this juncture, I'm just saying it looks thus far like a repeat of last camp where like you see at least one play a day where like Love just clicks with Dobbs, clicks here. But Watson, even the completions are like, there's something just a little off there. Kevin Kebble's also saying Saul Valentine was getting picked on a bit. Interesting. He did. I wouldn't say it was like excessive, though, where it was like the offense was purposefully targeting Valentine. I think he just happened to naturally have more thrown his way today. And it was an up and down day. Like he got an interception against Sean Clifford, one of Clifford's 2 interceptions, one to Valentine, one to Evan Williams. So it was an up and down day because then Valentine also towards the end of practice did get beat twice as well. So tested more and... results for Carrington Valentine. Then also some random plays here. Eason to Hicks for 15 yards. Really nice needle thread there from Eason. Then with the 2s, bad snap from Monk. Clifford evaded left, couple yard gain. Here's the thing with Sean Clifford, in case you're wondering. Like, if you're seeing these headlines every day about Clifford, more interceptions, more sacks, whatever. This is truly what I see with Sean Clifford. I don't know as if it's seeing ghosts from the first couple days of camp. Like, he's traumatized. But realistically, you see Sean Clifford take the snap, and then one of two things happens. He either steps into the pressure, like right away, or even if there's no pressure at all, you still see him take the snap and just take off. There is no calmness right now to Sean Clifford's game at all. He takes the snap, runs, or looks to evade immediately, and then attempts to fire to someone. And more often than not, it's been a bad decision who he's trying to fire to. It just looks through 6 days that just all of Sean Clifford's game right now is in panic mode. And it's like he just needs to, overall, just calm it down. Even with Michael Pratt, 7th round rookie, Pratt has not been perfect. There's still a fair number of interceptions that have come from Pratt. Fair number of deflections. Fair number of like, ooh, where was he throwing that? I don't know, from Michael Pratt. But still, the process is slower, is calmer, looks in more control than Clifford. Clifford right now, it just looks like has no control over the offense. And if you're wondering what's going on there, it's that. There's just no control from Clifford. Then just to get to the 2-minute drill, wanted to read this off for you. This will be the last thing that I actually recap for you. Basically, the twos, it wasn't a true 2-minute drill. Basically, they set up the offense. They had 60 yards to go, minute 5 on the clock, 1 timeout, down 2. So they wanted to see if the offense could win the game, right? Well, for the twos, no, they did not win the game because Sean Clifford dropped back and delivered a pass to Evan Williams, who, if you recall, Evan Williams plays defense. And that ended the twos' attempt to win the game very, very quickly. As for the ones, though, we at least had something go on. Love to Wicks. That was the catch off the bobble pass. Then for the next first down, Jacobs up the left side. And we'll say, too, they're regularly using Jacobs as a pass catcher. Like, there's really no doubt about that. It's a regular thing in the offense right now. That was a first down. Second down, Love, drop off to Jacobs. Went nowhere. Third down, offsides for the defense. Third down again. False start for the offense. Literally tit for tat. Then third down, Love to Musgrave underneath. Got a couple yards there, but then 4th and inches. Love takes the snap, drops back, and he has all the time in the world. Like, this was a good 6 seconds before Love had to throw the ball anywhere. Line was blocking very well on this one particular snap for 4th and inches. But also, no wide receiver got open anywhere. So Love then, after about 6 seconds, just rips it downfield to Musgrave, something that we did see Love do a bunch last year. However, it was about 2 yards farther than Musgrave could get up to. So down right there, and then they did the field goal attempt. With the threes then, Jalen Wayne, he had himself a nice catch. Kalen King did get burned on a run there. That was probably King's worst play of the day, but ultimately ended in a field goal attempt. And there you have it. That is basically all of day 6. It was a very eventful day. Not necessarily for highlights. Wasn't big play after big play. But it still was a day where a lot of things happened. And plus 2, developments began to occur. We're getting to the point now in camp where you can start maybe hearing or expecting to hear about guys like Kalen King, 7th round guys that are beginning to stand out. Other rookies that are beginning to make plays as they're beginning to understand what's going on. We're getting to the exciting part of camp now where some of the jitters are gone. Some of the confusion is gone. Guys are going to start making plays. And that's exciting. Also, one thing I will say, no practice tomorrow, so obviously no meet tomorrow. But then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I don't know if you've looked at the weather in Green Bay, but Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it's all supposed to be like high 80s plus humid as all get out. I'll just say, like, don't be shocked, one, if these are not very long practices midweek if the weather comes true. But also, two, oh, God, send help. Like, no one I talk to in the stands is looking forward to this week. So that is coming later this week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, still practice. Then, if you're wondering about the rest of the week, they're off Friday. And then Saturday is family night. So there you have it. Professor Cakes, what you got to say? Professor Cakes saying Clifford doing his best Jay Cutler impression. It's been ugly, man. It's It's been brutal for Sean Clifford. And it started out like those first couple days, it was like, okay, you are behind a decimated offensive line. You're not Jordan Love. It's the first days of camp. The offense always sucks in the first days of camp. Like, okay, I wasn't willing to give a pass, but at least like make some sense for Sean Clifford, right? Now, though, you're going against the twos again. You're going against like your people. The line is blocking better for you than it did in the first 3 days. And you're still throwing interception after interception. It's getting concerning for Sean Clifford at this point. So certainly something to continue to keep an eye on. And the thing is, too, it would be great if we could sit here and talk about how like Sean Clifford is losing the number 2 job because Pratt is performing so well. Like Pratt is just doing so well that Clifford's going to lose his job. The unfortunate part, though, is that's really not the case. It's more just like Clifford looks like he's losing that job. It just appears that way. I don't think he actually is yet. But it looks like Clifford's losing his job just because it's an absolute train wreck. And that's basically the worst case scenario for the Packers backup situation. Eric, what's up, Eric? Eric saying Sean Kaiser. Yeah, actually, I kind of hate it. But at least last couple of days, it's not a terrible comp because Clifford is still, he's got the evading skills that Kaiser did for stretches there. I hate it because it's a good comp, Eric. All right, everybody, it is time for me to jump on out of here. Go enjoy the rest of your beautiful Sunday. Hopefully it's beautiful wherever you are. And then tomorrow, day off, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, though. Oh, we'll be here. I'll be red like a tomato, no doubt about it. And you can come chat Packers with me after all those practices wrap up. Do hope everyone out there is having a great day. And as always, go Pack Go.